The situation in Ukraine is getting more and more precarious hour by hour, day by day. But what if I told you that this situation was not about protecting a sovereign state, but in actual fact, furthering the interests of a military-industrial complex? I'm Stuart Hooper, a lecturer in political science and PhD researcher, and I need all of you watching this right now to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this message everywhere you possibly can, because we sit on the edge of an extremely dangerous situation right now. Late last year, the military-industrial complex suffered a significant setback when the Western world decided to withdraw from Afghanistan. However, it seems to have found its next target in Ukraine. The problem is that the situation in Afghanistan couldn't escalate to a nuclear level, and the situation in Ukraine absolutely could. And of course, this is a red alert for humanity. I'm arguing that this whole situation comes down to this set of institutions that we can call the military-industrial complex, as identified by President Dwight D. Eisenhower way back in the 1950s. So what exactly is the military-industrial complex? Well, it's a conglomeration of political, economic, military, and even ideological interests that have a vested interest in launching and continuing wars and acts of violence around the world. These people and these organizations and institutions, they gain power, wealth, and influence by the continuation of conflict. That means that they profit in some way from the death and destruction of human beings and our planet. How do they do this? Well, they spread lies to you, the general public. They claim that their operations are to protect you, and that everything they do is for national security, and that they're attempting to bring about a democratic, peaceful, liberal world in where all nation states can get along. Well, in actual fact, that tends to not be the case. We need to instead look seriously at these ulterior motives that these institutions within the military-industrial complex are seeking more power, wealth, and influence for themselves at your expense. And in this case, that expense will mean your blood, your money, your sacrifice, and possibly your life, and even your civilization, if we allow this to escalate to that sort of degree. So there's three things here that I think illustrate this particularly well. Let's start with Lloyd Austin, the current Secretary of Defense of the United States under Democrat Joe Biden. Anybody familiar of where Lloyd Austin came from? He was on the board of directors of Raytheon Technologies, a central pillar of the military-industrial complex, and he is now ready to lead the Western world into a conflict in Ukraine. Second, let's take a quick look at this national security daily briefing from Politico. We can see this big bold headline: Russia could at any point launch an attack in Ukraine. And if we look closely just below this headline, you will see that the National Security Daily Briefing, the inside scoop on defense, national security, and foreign policy, is presented by Lockheed Martin. This is one that you really have to see to believe, but it just demonstrates the extent to which this actually exists as an entity in our world. And it's put right in front of our faces, and most people don't even realize it. This is unbelievable. But Lockheed Martin, one of the biggest defense contractors on the planet, again, another key pillar of the military-industrial complex, absolutely supporting this narrative that we are about to go to war. And a final point here If you've seen any Western mainstream media news reports on this whole situation in Ukraine right now, I would guarantee you that you have not heard from a single Russian voice, and you have not heard from a single opposing voice from the Western world on this conflict and this direction that we're currently being pushed in, which is towards war, conflict, maybe even world war. Why is that? Well, because what is the Western mainstream media? It's a conglomeration of corporate news outlets which are owned and operated by these transnational investment corporations which are interconnected with military industry, with the military industrial complex. This is a self-reinforcing system of selling you the lies, taking you to war, having you bear all of the costs, and then they reap all of the profits. And again, that's not just economic profits, that's wealth, yes, but also power and influence and control over society, your life, and the world as we know it. So we need to understand that this military-industrial complex does exist. There are institutions and individuals that do have a vested interest in the continuation of war and violence in the world, and that these institutions are the central threat to world peace. And we can only remedy this situation if you, right now watching this video, learn about what's going on here and start to mobilize in a direction to stop these dominoes from falling. Message your congressman in one way or another. Send an email to your member of parliament. Whoever represents you in government, let them know right now that you are not willing to fight and die for another war that is being fought on behalf of this military-industrial complex. This system ends when we say it ends. I'm going to be doing a breakdown on some of the commentary that I've seen on this topic right now in the Western mainstream media, because some of it is quite frankly disgraceful and extremely dangerous. So please subscribe, hit again that notification bell, share this video wherever you can, and stay tuned, because this issue is about to be my central focus. For as long as this lasts, we need to stand against this, and we need to point out exactly what is going on here. So look for a video on that. And I'm also going to be exploring this false flag accusation that has been sent in Russia's direction, and also that cyber attack, an interesting one, that happened just last week. Lots going on here in this situation, and it could go in an extremely dangerous, hot direction. Again, only we can stop that from happening. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned, and I'll be back with more videos very soon.